I might have some good news for Browns fans and the Browns themselves, depending on if you like Kirk Cousins as a bridge quarterback option for 2025. You see, Kirk Cousins was on Good Morning Football, whatever that show is called, and he shared something that I thought was very interesting and worth looking into, which is injuries. He said, against the Saints, I got hit pretty good in my right shoulder and elbow, and from there, kind of dealing with that was something I was working through and just never really could get it to where I wanted it. This explains a lot because Kirk Cousins was playing really good football for much of the season. Like Kirktober, he was cooking after kind of a slow week one, first game, new team, first game back from the Achilles, did not score a touchdown against the Steelers at home. Okay, a lot of teams have slow starts in week one, but they were rolling after that. You can look at Kirk Cousins' stats, weeks 1 through 9 versus weeks 10 through 15 before he got benched going into week 16. And it is a completely different quarterback, and I could not for the life of me figure out what really happened. I mean, how do you go from 17 touchdowns to 1 touchdown and 1 win in a 5-week span? And I think we really have a honest answer, which is he was playing through an injury. Now, it's a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's a little bit murky when it comes to injuries in the NFL because of all the gambling that's going on right now. I said this sounded something so old and weird. Because of all the gambling that the NFL is getting in bed with here, if you are injured and you are not on the injury report, teams are going to be, or the league is going to be very upset with teams. So I'm not really sure if Kirk Cousins kept this injury to himself, which players do, or kind of let the team know about it and they didn't put it on the injury report, but it was safe to say no one thought Kirk Cousins was injured because Kirk Cousins was never on the injury report except for one time in which he himself said was a clerical issue, and it was just an estimated injury report. They didn't actually even have a practice that day. So this right here makes a lot of sense, and if you are the Browns, you might be a lot more comfortable with pursuing Kirk Cousins if/when the Falcons release him because you just need him to be healthy again. And if you get the Kirk Cousins that was healthy at the start of the year, you might have hit the lottery, the jackpot. Because you went into this offseason without any good plan at quarterback, not a good quarterback draft class, not a clear, obvious option in free agency. And Cousins, who is likely going to be released, in my opinion, by the Falcons, will sign a vet minimum contract with someone, and you could get 17 touchdowns and 275 yards or however many it was in the first 9 weeks of the season for like $2 million a season. And that could be a huge Hail Mary that's answered and caught for Cleveland. So I'll ask you guys right now, do you want the Browns to sign Cousins? Give me an S for sign or a P for pass down below in the comment section. Kirk Cousins has always been a quarterback that I've had some level of interest in since day one of this free agency odyssey, as Andrew Barry would probably like to call it, because of the high ceiling and his connection to Kevin Stefanski. And the only question that was out there was, is he healthy? And he said that he spent January and February getting healthy, and I'm choosing to believe that by September, that shoulder and elbow could have healed by then, and you were going to get the quarterback that started the season off really hot for Atlanta, setting the team single-season passing record. So a healthy Kirk on a vet minimum contract, yeah, I'm in, right? This is a no-brainer to me if you believe you are getting weeks 1 through 9 Kirk Cousins on a $2-ish million contract. He does not have to be the only move you make at quarterback. You don't have to put all your eggs in the Kirk Cousins basket, but he should be one of the moves you make at quarterback. If I had to guess, the Browns quarterback room is going to look something like this. Deshaun Watson will spend the entire season on the PUP list, so just ignore him. I think they're going to add 2 free agent quarterbacks, and they are going to draft a quarterback. That means no Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I think they move on from him altogether, and they roll with 3 QBs. So who are these QBs going to be? Well, let's put a pin in the draft because that's still a long ways away and a lot can change from now until then, including free agency. So let's talk about a tier 1/2 veteran and a tier 3/4. Tier 1/2. I just lumped them all together because they're not all that far apart. Like Sam Darnold's probably the only one in the tier 1 category. But you probably go with one of these guys here. Darnold, I'm suspecting will re-sign with the Vikings. Fields is an option. Russell Wilson, I think, will go back to Pittsburgh. Jameis, he wants to go play for the Giants. That's been the talk of Super Bowl week so far. Reunite with Jacoby Brissett or Kirk Cousins if/when he gets released. Aaron Rodgers in the same boat where I expect him to be released by the Jets. So I'm guessing one of these 7 quarterbacks will be signed by Cleveland. In addition to a tier 3/4 quarterback. These are quarterbacks that no one should think should be handed over the starting job, but they can compete for the starting job. Andy Dalton, if he has anything left in the tank. Bring back Joe Flacco. I don't see Barry bringing back Flacco because that would be such an admission of guilt. No way he's going to do that. Mac Jones, I don't dislike as a competitive backup. Jimmy Grappolo, Daniel Jones. I'm intrigued because beggars can't be choosers, and look at the other guys on the list here. Rather have Trey Lance or Drew Lock? Probably not, or Marcus Mariota. So, yeah, there's not a lot of great options here, and that's why I would like the Browns to sign 2 veterans and make 1 draft pick at the quarterback position, and then the 3 of them can duke it out in training camp. That's going to give you probably the best result in a bad situation. And do not forget, this is a bad situation for the Browns to be in the quarterback market. It is not a good draft class, and it's not a good free agent class. So I am only in the business of making the best of a bad case right here. And this, to me, is the best of a bad situation. Before we get on to the rest of today's episode, Game Time has an awesome deal for the Dawg Pound. They've got this thing called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you do not have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. One thing I really like about Game Time is their all-in pricing option. Toggling this feature shows the total upfront cost with no surprise fees at checkout. Plus, you can filter by city, so you can see what's going on in Cleveland or wherever you live on any given day. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. All that information is in the comments and description of today's video. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. The number one topic, of course, is Myles Garrett, and I wish that I had good news on this front. I don't. If I'm being completely honest, I think this situation is going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Because I just can't seem to move on from Myles Garrett wanting to go play for a contender and the Browns not wanting to trade Garrett, and if they eventually bend the knee and cater to Myles' demands, what's stopping the Browns from trading him to a non-contending team that gives them the best offer? Everyone is just like ruling out teams because, well, Myles wants to go play for a contending team. He said that in his memo. You think Myles gets a pick where he gets traded? He does not have a no-trade clause. Am I the only one who's thinking this way? No team would trade for Garrett if his agent makes it very clear to them he's not going to play for you. But is he really about to sit out a whole season? Is he really about to start missing time because of a holdout like Hassan Reddick last year with the Jets? Maybe not. Maybe. I don't know. But I'll tell you what. Just because he said he wants to go play for a contending team, I don't think the Browns are going to go, oh, okay, Myles, well, we got a great offer from Chicago, and it included multiple firsts, but since you nicely asked to be traded to a contending team, we'll take a worse offer from the Bills. That's the thing that I just can't seem to move on from. And while we're at it, too, if you're trading Myles Garrett, why not go full rebuild? Why not strip it down? Andrew Berry said after the season, we don't plan on trading our cornerstone pieces. I also remember him saying that they were excited for Baker. And we know how that ended. So if you're going to trade Garrett, what are you playing for in 2025? Absolutely nothing. Why not trade everyone, right? Seriously. Why not trade Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, David Njoku? Maybe not all 4 of them, but 2 of them. Why not go full rebuild? Go, if we're going to suck, let's really suck, and let's get as many picks as possible. Do not half-ass a rebuild. Go out there and make all the moves to get as much draft capital as possible. You may not like the guy making the picks, but if I'm the guy who is in charge of this rebuild, I'm not going to pull back on a rebuild. That's the thing that I'm starting to really fear. Now, the cons to this is the locker room is completely shattered. It'll be a miserable place for everyone to work next year. And if you're Andrew Berry, you have to have full support from Jimmy Haslam that you're not going to get fired. You got to go to Jimmy and go, here's the situation we are in. If we're going to rebuild, let's go all out. And let's get multiple first and second round picks for this year, next year, and the year after that by trading away all of our players. And we are going to suck this year. But if you trust me to orchestrate this rebuild, this is what needs to be done. Haslam might trust him. You might not trust him. But we need to start separating what you want versus what the Browns want. Because clearly, the two are not connected. If that was the case, Myles Garrett would not be requesting a trade. But we find ourselves in this situation now, and I don't want to just stick my head in the sand and pretend like everything's going to be okay. Oh, it's probably not. Sorry. But I do not want to see them half-ass a rebuild and go, well, let's trade our best player, but let's pretend to still be contenders. No, you're not. You're definitely not winning anything in 2025 if Myles is gone. So what's holding back from trading Denzel Ward for first-round pick 2? Get 3 firsts. Trade Njoku for a 3rd. Get 10 picks in the top 100. Sign a bridge quarterback and go, it's not going to be good in 2025, but we are excited for 2026. We're going to have a brand new roster. So with that in mind, should the Browns blow it all up? If they trade Myles, I don't see any reason to hold on to David Njoku or Greg Newsome. I'm not. See, I feel like when I say this stuff, I put myself in a tough situation because now I'm like the villain for saying this. No, I'm just acknowledging the quiet part and saying it out loud. You're not going to go anywhere without Myles. So why hold on to these veteran players before they eventually move on in free agency, whether their contract ends soon or you trade them later, and you get way less than you could for them right now? I'd blow it all up. So let's pick a card to wrap up the show. Dylan, which card do you want to go with?
Let's go with the 3 of hearts.
I'm going to go with the... I was going to say 7 of diamonds, but that's wrong. We know that. So 4 of clubs. Four of spades. 4 of spades. Damn it. That's it for today's episode. We'll be back tomorrow with more on your brownies.